joining us. It is the last day of April, guys, April 30th. I am here today with three super talented designers, Allan, CeCe Todd, and Zaratsian. They are joining our COVID-19 discussion. It's round 2 with them, and they're going to be sharing their experience, perspective, and advice. While we are getting started, I would love for you to just say hello and let us know where you are from. And I feel like I'm talking to myself because so far we're like at 0. I know there will be more coming. My email just went out. I'm just going to give you guys a couple of minutes, and I'm going to stall a little bit just to get everyone in. Here we go. I have some people now. Good morning, guys. Welcome to our latest episode of Mornings with Mayesh. It's Yvonne here, and thank you so much for joining us. I am here today with 3 super talented designers, Allan, CeCe Todd, and Zaratsian. They're here for round 2 of our COVID conversation, and they're going to be sharing their experience, perspective, and advice. Say hello, let us know where you're from, post your comments and your questions in the comments section. I always stumble over that for some reason, and we'll definitely make some time to answer those. If we don't, I will roll them over to next show. And as always, be sure to check our blog for our replay. I post everything there, guys. There will be our show notes, the video replay, and of course the podcast. Guys, do you guys know we have a podcast? I love it. I love the podcast. I listen to podcasts a lot now, just when I finally have been making time to walk again. It's been really busy. So yesterday was my 3rd walk this month. So I've been like stuck to my office chair constantly. Hey, Jackie, how are you? Representing Chicago. Tiffany from Florida. I'm in Florida too, Tiffany. I'm in South Florida. And Amanda is in Tampa, Florida. So that's fun. Hi, Darlene. Hey, Erin. Hi, Jessica. Keep it coming, guys. All right. So I did my intros. We talked about the replay. I also wanted to make sure that you know everything there is to know about Mayesh. And to do that, you just need to subscribe to our email. Super easy. We send out not too many emails, I feel like. You all can tell me. But just about our news, events, like if these things are starting, Mornings with Mayesh, I make sure that I send out an email for that. And we do a newsletter. If you are a customer, then you get pricing emails and that kind of fun stuff too. So that way you know about our availability and how to order and all that fun stuff. All right, so that is that. Also, if you guys have a chance, and while this show is just getting started, I would love for you to share this with your flower friends. That would be amazing if you could. And I would greatly, greatly appreciate it. All right, guys, we are going to bring on our people. Let's see. I see Ashley from Colorado, Renee from Oklahoma. Hey, guys, how are you? All right, let me bring on my people. And I need to scroll. Change that up. Hey, guys.
I get to have the center stage now.
I know, Eddie. I remembered that you did not want to be on the end. You want to be in the middle. So this is about as middle as we can get, Eddie. How are you guys doing?
Fabulous.
Incredible.
Love it. So I'm going to show everyone's names real quick, too. Hold on. It just takes me a second. And there we go. That way everyone knows who is who, just in case. I know you guys were on a couple of weeks ago, and I again, greatly appreciate it. And it was so much fun. But do you guys want to just go down the line real quick, introduce yourselves, a super quick version of it, and then we'll get into our conversation. Amanda, you want to start?
Sure. Hi, I'm Allan. I own MMD Events in Tampa, Florida, and going on 15 years of full event production, no planning. And unlike the others here today, I'm not a teacher. I'm just opinionated.
I love it. You don't have to be a teacher to be on this show either, so it's perfect. Eddie, how about you?
Obviously, my name is Zaratsian. I'm based out of Los Angeles and work internationally. I've been in the business for maybe now 33 years, and I am the owner or co-owner of TikTok Couture Florals and my own brand, which is Eddie's Zaratsian Lifestyle and Design.
Love it. Welcome, Eddie. Hi,
Thank you for
CeCe.
having us again.
Of course. It's your turn, girl.
All right, so I am Cece with CeCe Designs and Events out of Birmingham, Alabama. Yes, I'm from Alabama. I am a wedding and special event floral designer and wedding and event floral educator. I love to do all the extra things. I'm a lover of pink, and I am surviving just like the next person. I have been doing this in some form of fashion, I always say, for like 20 years, because even though everybody else was like, yeah, I've been doing it for like 80,000 years, that just shows my age. And a Southern woman, just, we have issue with that because I look 25, right?
You do. You're beautiful. You all are beautiful. I have like a beautiful roster of guests today, which is great.
Eddie brings the sex appeal and just like rounds us out.
I love it.
It's the smolder in the middle, like the smolder.
Smoldering. So he's got a brunette on one side and a blonde on the other side, two blondes on the other side. So
I can handle it, baby. I can handle it. I'm all good.
I love it. Well, welcome, guys. And again, to our viewers, while you're listening, please post your questions in the comments and we will definitely hit those up today. I just wanted to start with you guys with a super easy question. Since the last time we got together, what have you been up to? What have you been doing these last 2 weeks? Eddie, you want to go first?
Oh my God. I'm launching something for Mother's Day that's happening tomorrow. So you'll see it like the rest of the world. So super excited. My attention has been on that for quite a while. So seeing it come to fruition and kind of the reality of something, like any project, right? Creative project coming into reality is the exciting part. Once this, I know I shouldn't even be saying this, but I'm doing a photo shoot today that is very, very last minute because there's certain things that didn't work out from the photo shoot from previous. And the direction kind of sort of changed while evolving. So I do have a photo shoot today. And once the photo shoot is done and it's launched, I'm like, kind of like, hallelujah, it's done. It's not in my hands. I need to now kind of rest that and move on to the next project. That being said, again, remember I was talking to you about, the educational part and really reaching out to community and working on a project that I was going to release in the next, hopefully, month, which is really super exciting. And it's just kind of more of a inspirational kind of a ideas kind of a format. Cece, you look gorgeous, darling. Stop playing with your hair. You are so cute. I love you. You're gorgeous. I know you're gorgeous. That ray of sunshine you bring onto like these meetings is just incredible, darling. So yeah, that's it. So creatively, just I'm in the design world. So for me, if it's not flowers and it's not events, it's definitely something else that I'm always like I'm working on a project that we're working on with the client for branding. I mean, like when it's a creative mind, you need to find other avenues to kind of diverse and what makes you money, right? At the end of the day, it's all about survival right now. So we're doing a 18th birthday party. We're decorating a front yard with balloons and flowers. So it should be really interesting this morning. So she said, "Can you bring it here before she wakes up?" I'm like, "What do you mean, 7 o'clock in the morning?" No, I'm like, I have a meeting at 8 in the morning, and probably around 11 o'clock you'll have something set up. I mean, it's not that I don't want to do it, but I just, remember when we were like, we said yes to everything all the time and we ran and ran and ran. This pace has gotten me to be like, no, you'll have it whenever you have it. It's not, we can't stress about it because everybody was so like I want this, I want that, I want now, and I'm like that too, but just the universe has taught us now just to kind of relax a bit. Everything happens at the right time when it's supposed to, and not stress about it. I think this is such a blessing in disguise that we don't see it. We see it as a demon and a devil and something that evil is happening to all of us because we're worried about our finances.
Yeah.
And really what we need to take out is, I know it's a hard thing to say, guys, but if you take out the equation of money and just live a good, healthy, balanced life, whether it's getting good food and just taking time for yourself and meditating and all that stuff, I think just having positive energy and giving love to yourself, you're going to manifest so many beautiful things that you don't even realize that you even have within yourself.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And I want to circle back to the front yard decorating because I was just talking about that on my Instagram live before I came here because I forget what company it was. Again, I have a terrible memory. But I was just flipping through Instagram and they had this branded video of the event that they put on in someone's front yard, and it was for the 2020 grads that were in this family. I think someone was like going from 5th grade to 6th grade and then 8th grade to high school. So, big milestones for their children. And so, typically now the kids now just get like these car parades for their birthday and everyone makes signs and it's super cute. But this like took it to the whole next level, total event design.
Right? Like black and white.
Yes,
still
black and white.
I think it was done in California, and I think it was done by Shauna.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it wrong, and she's gonna kill me. I love her, and I think she's she's a fellow Virgo, so shout out to fellow Virgos. She's super creative, so I love
Yes.
that she's taking what is not, like when people are suffering right now and they can't figure out like where the creativity is and how they can be creative without having a wedding or without having a bridal shower. There's so many other opportunities that we don't celebrate on a daily basis. And it doesn't mean we have to go all crazy, but still,
Yeah.
I think we still need to celebrate, right? The other day I saw something that really daunted me, and it was a bride and groom at the church, and then you saw all the guest
The
seats
pictures.
and the pictures. I thought, I'm sorry, I'm gonna say this, and probably everybody's gonna lash out to me. That looked like an airline crashed, and it was all the people that were like dead.
A memorial.
With their pictures on this. It looked like a memorial, then it looked like a wedding celebration. And I think as being in the wedding industry, that's something that we need to not show. We need to show the positivity side to it. Is this how your wedding's going to look like? No, your wedding's not going to look like that. Just give it some time and let everything come back to normality. Whether we're celebrating with 50 people or 500 people, it doesn't really matter anymore, right? It's the people that we love the most, and we're going to celebrate even bigger and grander. That's what I feel like.
Yeah.
Well, we have a that's something we talked about actually on our last one when I was talking about pivoting.
Yep.
And that I had been toying with the idea of like having yard parties.
Yes.
Yeah, and I took your idea, and I actually am going to make money. Thank you, darling.
I'm here for you. And decorating people's front yards. And we've had so many people reach out to us. We have a client that her sister is graduating from college and can't. And so she's really ran with it and had like a sample diploma made up by a local artist, even with a water print, and borrowed somebody's from that same college, like casing. And she's doing like a floral display of like the letter of the school, and we're going to put it in the front yard. And she got a cap and a gown, and the sister is like none the wiser. And so she's going to have her own little like graduation, since they can't have graduation like in the front yard. And she had a lot of the favorite like snacks that they eat there and treats and like all the like the favorite drinks from that college, and totally setting up a whole little like graduation out in the front yard. So there's so many things you can do. Like Eddie said, you can do the birthday party idea. I mean, I tell people all the time, I tried to say I do extra or luxury events. If you want to spend a bus ton on a baby shower, I'll do it for you. If you want me to decorate your yard and pay me like an arm and leg, I'll do it. Like, I'll just do all the extra things. It just doesn't matter like what vein it's in.
Right. Yeah. I love it. So I just wanted to bring that up though, because it's Shauna Yamamoto, and I did post the link to her Instagram so you could check out the video that she had created about the event. And so that video, I think, is just going to do amazing things. And I was encouraging everyone that was watching to think about, like, even if it isn't something specific for like these crazy COVID events, but thinking about brand video and how important that is to be able to tell your story in a beautiful, emotional way that people watch, that like stop them in their tracks. Like, I see so many things and I just scroll, and that like made me stop. And I was like, oh, I want that, that's the point of video, and it's so powerful. So that's why I wanted to bring it up.
Well, I wanted to follow back to what Eddie said about that wedding, because I saw it too. And I totally agree. And before you get the backlash, I just wanted I agree with you. But I do also think that there's a place for documenting what it looks like right in this exact moment. And great to them that they had this wedding and that is how they chose to celebrate it. But you're right. All that's doing is telling brides, like, is that what a wedding's gonna have to look like? And it's like inducing chaos. And so, I mean, like, even though I said there's a validity to it as like part of history showing like that's what it looks like in this exact moment.
I agree.
We've got to protect those brides and be like, no, boo, that's not in 2021. I swear you're not going to have to go to Kinko's and get printouts of every human being that was going to come to your wedding. So I do feel like that has to be like, that's beautiful, but yet it has to be taken with a grain of salt. Us as educators of our clients have to do exactly what Eddie said, which is no. That's just a blip in time right now. That is not going to be, hopefully, your wedding in 8 months, 9 months.
And it's not your future.
Yeah.
That's not your future.
Yeah.
So yes, absolutely.
Exactly.
I agree with you. And, like I said, I totally agree with you. It's completely right in the moment. And you do need to document that in history, because in the future, you want to see how people survived in crazy moments like this, right?
Yeah.
So yes, I agree with you, but I also don't want it. I don't want it to be the staple of where people are going to be, right? Because a lot of brides are like freaking out because of uncertainty, and it's like, relax. And if it's not in 5 months and it's not the end of the year, it's definitely next year. It's okay.
Yeah.
And I did an interview yesterday about an article. It's like, okay, so what if it's, what if you, now you have to uninvite your guests. Let's say if the guest count has to go down, now you have to uninvite your guests. How do you uninvite your guests? I'm like, you don't. You like throw 3 different parties. You throw 3 different parties. Maybe you have like a cocktail party for like the 100 guests. Then you do a cake cutting with 1 guest, and then you do a small intimate dinner with other guests, right? So like you can divide your guest list and kind of still take them to that experience, but not be able to, not to separate them. Like, now I have to disinvite 200 people. Like, that's impossible. Like, how do you do that? So anyways, so there's good. So many things that I'm like, I want everything to like, and I know things are not going to be 100% back to normal, but I also don't want to have that negative energy of continuing on. It's like, now we need to switch on, those creative switches, creative minds that we have, and kind of think out of the box. And if it's not, like when we started back in the, in the 80s, I was in the balloon business, right? No one knows that. So, well, I shouldn't say no one knows that. If anyone knows me, they know me. So there's a history of all creative things that I've done, whether it's gift baskets,
right,
and gifting and balloons, and then florals, and then event design. So I've always been in that creative field. So, I mean, I remember I used to do, executive gift baskets for like Coca-Cola for like $5,000 a piece, and I was shipping them out all over the world. And so that was what was making money at that time. So that's what I, pursued. And so when I started seeing the market shift, and then those mass marketers coming in doing those gift baskets that were like $49.99 and they looked like crap, right? Because they were shrink wrapped, like it had no life to it whatsoever. I knew that market was starting to die because it went to complete mass marketing. And so unless I was in that field of doing mass producing, mass merchandising, and I was the creative director of a company to style the look and feel the look to do it, I was out because I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to do that hustling again and try to be like, why do you charge $5,000 for that basket? Well, I can buy a gift basket at like online for like $100 or
Right. Yeah.
right. So that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, I love it. I'm gonna move on because I'm still on. What have you guys been up to for 2 weeks? Cece, what have you been? I mean, I love you guys. I love it. Keep it going. Cece, what have you been up to for 2 weeks?
Same thing. I got some flowers in. I did some teaching over in live with Cece. I had a guest speaker, a design tutorial, and a business teaching all since then in Cece school. And then we've really been hammering down on like the pivots. I mean, we've been kind of promoting the yard parties and the baskets. The baskets have really taken off. And it's so funny that Eddie says that, because I think that one of the things that I tell people all the time is, yes, stay in your lane, but get as much experience in as many things as you can, because it will come in handy. Like, we're a jack of all trades. And when you've been in this 10, 15, 20, 30 years, there's really nothing you won't do for money. And that sounds horrible, but I mean, at some point in time, you were like, I'll take it. And we've kind of learned 1,000 different crafts. So yeah, I'm pulling back from I used to do corporate baskets. I used to do gift baskets when I worked for a retail flower shop. But granted, mine are different. Even my mom said last night, she was like, well, I saw on Facebook, all these people are selling them for $10. I was like, go boo. Like, those are not the people that are buying mine, are my clients that know me, that know what kind of events that I do. I had a client order $700 worth of baskets 2 days ago, and for 4 baskets. So, I mean, my baskets are not the mass quantity, they're things that they're really just paying for, like, very eclectic sourced, Cece picked it out and Cece-fied it type things. So that all goes back to developing your brand. I mean, when you have a very strong brand, you have a tendency to bring in people that are okay with what you charge. And there is a perk to people not wanting to go out right now. I mean, they know that I am not wholesaling, pulling stuff in. I mean, I'm going to Lowe's or wherever to get it, but they don't want to go because they don't want to go out and get exposed. So the price that they're happy to pay is like, I don't have to go get it. So that, and we're doing some like garden, like my number one seller has been a garden basket. Thank God it's been pretty here. Everybody wants to send a garden basket to somebody, and I'm just running out of places to source gardening stuff.
That's awesome.
So that's what I've been doing.
Yeah, that's great. How about you, Amanda?
First, I just want to say that it's so nice to hear you two say that you're just not afraid of what other people are charging and what other people are doing. Like, thank God, right? Like, hallelujah, that we're at a point where it's like, I don't care what you're charging. I don't care who you are. I know who I am. I know what I charge, and I know what I'm doing. Like,
yes.
Good night. I hope we can just continue to just encourage people to put that behind them. Y'all have been very productive. I have been supervising a dumpster fire. I have really been simultaneously taking cancellations while taking long conference calls where event professionals who are in the corporate world spend 2 hours on the phone with me saying, do we move forward with our event? So that's kind of held up my days. Our company really pushes other people forward. We're not planners, we're not educators. So we do tend to push forward all the people around us. So we've been pushing forward everybody's Mother's Day offerings. And just making sure that our community stays really lit and really illuminated. We're really fortunate. We have a huge community of people who are doing awesome things and are really honestly really staying in their lane and just trying to stay visible and stay alive. And I just always say the more they stay alive, the better we're going to be when we come out of this, because as a producer, I am only as good as all these people behind me. If they go, what I can offer my clients and how I design and all those tools I have, I cannot be everything. I cannot own everything. I cannot provide everything. You know, I look at other companies that do it all. And I think there was a time in my life where I thought I could have my hand on every single thing. And I really admire those people, but I have given up that control a long time ago. And I do rely heavily on a lot of these craftspeople. We are craftspeople ourselves. We employ craftspeople. We do tons of awesome stuff, but we rely on this community, and I rely on my competitors too. I never want to be chosen because I am the only.
Yes.
I always want to win. I was born competitive. So I don't want this business because everyone else failed and I was fucking left by myself here. I want to beat you fair and square every day.
Yeah.
So, so our Instagram is full of other people who I consider, you know, my conscious competition and what they're doing for Mother's Day. I'm in like a little bit of a bind that my entire warehouse right now is a hand sanitizer factory. I could not find what I need if you paid me money. Maybe I'll post some pictures to my Insta story a little bit later, but you know, I made that decision with my husband. He's actually legitimately supporting our family and all of my employees right now. So I kind of pushed aside to let him do his thing. But in the meantime, I had a part-time employee come up to me the other day and say, I see you're on your phone like all the time. You must really be not that busy. You're just up here. And I'm like, what do you think I'm doing on the phone? I'm talking to people.
I'm not playing Tetris. I mean, for the love.
I love that. I love that. That's like people thinking all I do is play on social media all day too for my job. So that's like my favorite thing when people say stuff like that.
Amanda, about your competition though. That was so good.
That is so good. I'm going to turn that into something.
I'm going to turn it into something.
I'm turning it into something. Like an audiogram, a meme,
you know, Amanda,
something.
when you were talking about like, you know, your competition, one of the couple of things that I did is I reached out to my floral competitors and friends here in LA, and I said, I love you. We're all in this together. If you need anything, let me know. I'm here to support you. And I did that with Shauna. I did that with Amy. I did that with some people that I'm a little bit more close to than trying to just reach out to, like,
totally.
you know, far, like random, like, where is this fucking coming from, right? You know, Eddie doesn't even say hi to me at the market because he's such a diva, and yeah, now he's calling me. I'm just kidding. I mean, I can come off very snobby, and it's not really because I am snobby. It's because I'm really focused, and then I'm really also very confident, not arrogant. So I come off, you know, successful people, when they're that successful, like all of us, right? We tend to be, if we're focused and we're confident what we do, we're either bitches or asses or dicks or whatever it is, which I hate to say that, but I'm not. I'm like, I can be, which, you know, if you talk to me and disrespect me in any way, doesn't matter if you're a friend or a client, that's one thing that switches off, you know, or on, and I'm like, I get like, okay, you treat me, I'm going to treat you exactly the way you treat me, and that's how you're going to know I'm a real dick now, right?
Yeah, I lose my temper because I am so like, what? When I lose my temper, you'll see my stat. It doesn't happen a lot, but when I do, they just start backing away because they're like, I don't even know what to do with this right now. So anytime anybody ever, it takes a lot, but if I lose my temper, they're like, run. But what I loved about that you said, Amanda, is that I have always said that people, you know, people love to gossip, people love to talk, people always in my industry, close in my neighborhood will say something. I mean, I live in the same, I'm sure Yvonne knows her. I am in the same market as Mandy Majerick at Hot House. And Mandy Majerick is AIFD. I mean, like a lot of people, like I compete for the same exact brides as she does in my industry. And people a lot of times will try to get me to say something negative. I'm like, I thank Mandy. And they look at me like I'm sideways. I was like, Mandy pushed me. Mandy, like, and everybody else that I saw as my competition, I owe them for who I am, because everything I saw them do, I was like, I want to do that. I want to be better than that. I want to get that next year. They got that, I'm going to get it. And if they would have just sat back, and then she has in return said that I pushed her because she had been in the industry for so long. Here comes this little young buck at the time just nipping at her heels. And she was like, okay, hold on, I got to be on my game. So there is that, like,
healthy competition.
Yeah,
healthy competition.
That makes you who you are. If you like take the negativity out of rivalry and just make it like what Amanda said, I just want to win. Like, I don't want to get it by default. I want to get it because I'm like, I'm the best.
And you're right. Like, in a way, I mean, we are always bitches, dicks, whatever you want to call us, because we do tend to really pay attention to people who are here to play. Like, and despite what it seems like, I'm very introverted. So probably
that's
not going to be the first.
But that's dangerous. That's dangerous.
But I'm probably not going to be the first person to say hi. I'm probably not going to, I'm going to be the person who's like, oh crap, I think I've seen them before and I can't quite remember them. So I'm going to kind of back slowly away behind that floral cooler. And like, you know, get back to my car really fast. And then for 4 days, I'll practice what I should have said to them. But the people I do pay attention to, I tend to only pay attention to people who are kind of in it to win it. And that really earns me a reputation of being hard.
I love it. I real quick want to just do a shout out to Mandy Majerick, because she is our OG Mayesh design star. She was our first design star. And honestly, when we started that program, we really didn't know what we were doing. We had this idea, let's do this contest, let's do these videos, and we'll see how it goes. But we had no idea the level that it could be. And she just came with her A game. She brought an amazing photographer and videographer team. Wes and Tara Wages, they're super cute. They just started a podcast too, and a video thing on YouTube. They're like the cutest people ever. So check that out. But I love Mandy, and yeah, she like pushed us to be like, that we like ended it and we're like, okay, we see where this is going. We're like really excited now. We had no clue.
I don't even know what a design star was, which I'm still mad at y'all for not having the big application process anymore. I love that. But everybody's like, you can't be the design star. You're already your own star in your head. Why not?
Yes. Yeah. That's a whole nother, we'll talk about that more. So I wanted to move on to our next question, guys, because I really want to know, once business starts picking back up, what are your predictions for what our new normal is going to be like? So how are your business practices going to change? And then to tie that in, I have Huntress Florals on, and she says, you know, are there any business practices that you're leaving behind and changing going forward? So I think that's a really great question. And I see Cece has her finger up. So Cece, go ahead.
I just wanted to say real quick, and I'm saying this in all the kindness. When you say when business picks back up, I think we need to also stop saying that too. Because who's busy, right? I am work. Thank you. I told all my people in CC school the other day, I was like, if you are still sitting on the couch, eating bonbons, you've ran out of all your Netflix options to watch, and you haven't taken a bath in 3 days or opened your computer, you're going to fail. I hate to break it to you, because I am working twice as hard as I was pre-COVID. Now, I might not be doing events, but I am working, and business is running twice as much as it was pre-COVID. I mean, I am having more consults now because I'm doing them video and I can fit like 5 in a day than I ever did when they were coming in and we were whining and dining them and getting snacks and all the so and the emails are coming in and I'm booking and I'm having to do so none of that has stopped. So I've been telling people to be not mindful of what you say, but mindful of what you hear. Like if you're in a place in your business right now to where like you gained 20 pounds and Netflix has ran out of options for you, like it's time to get back to work if you still want business.
I completely agree. And when I say get back to business, I mean wedding and events are going. We can actually get together with people. We are not quarantined in our house anymore. That's what I mean by that. So
but a lot of people
just to clear it up.
Even though I know that's what you meant, I think a lot of people think like my business has shut down and I have stopped. And I'm like, no, that's not what should be happening right now. You should still be working till the wee hours of the morning.
I completely agree. And Mayesh too, that's how we're operating. Like everyone's just, first of all, we're all on skeleton crews, just like everyone else. And we're all doing like 3-4 people's jobs. And so that means we're just working really, really hard around the clock. So yeah, I agree. We all need to be doing everything we can to survive.
But I think when you come out of this, it's going to be kind of what you said. I mean, I feel like masks are going to be still, I mean, I feel like we kind of touched on this last time. I feel like the landscape of the business is going to be like Thursday weddings, Friday weddings, Saturday weddings, Sunday weddings. I feel like everybody has to be very mindful of what their overtime can look like, because I feel like that's where people are going to get shot in the foot if they're not careful. If you're running limited, crews or people on your staff, what that's going to look like. And I think that you just have to have all your ducks in a row. I mean, I feel like it's going to feel a lot like, the Kentucky Derby at the shotgun. Like when everything's like, okay, we can go back to, I mean, it's going to be a slow process. I mean, Alabama's already said, okay, we're not shelter in place anymore. We're safer at home. That's the next level. And so like you can gather for 10, under 10 people. And then, the next step's probably going to be like 25 to 50. And then, it's going to be a gradual thing. But when it gets back, like it's going to hold on to your britches, because I just feel like it's just going to be an onslaught and you better have everything in place.
Yeah. Amanda, are you changing the way you're doing your business and how you go through setting up an event and planning for it based off of everything that's happened?
Yeah. The number one thing I'm doing, kind of piggybacking off of the conversation CeCe and I had at the end of the call last week, is since we really do stick to our contracts and we do really require our clients to stick to our contracts, we take our clients through a really big proposal process. And we've changed that in a couple of different ways. I worked with Sean Lowe for many, many years. He was my business consultant in the beginning of my business. And it was really one of the best moves I ever made. It was 2.5 very intense years. I was my husband and I. But one of the things he's always a big fan of is pretty significant design fees. We had always implemented those for larger clients, for clients that needed a lot of event shaping. We're not event planners, but because we're designers and producers, we have a lot of input when someone comes to us with a new raw concept, whether it's charity, whether it's social. We have a lot of input on many facets of that, from paper to branding to food. I mean, again, I'm just really bossy. And I'm fortunate to be able to charge for that insane bossiness. But again, we've all been there. We've all done really hard work, showed up to an event, put our stuff down, looked around and said, I don't like the environment I just created for. So we help our clients really craft that environment. What I realized is that I was really what I realized when I lost about $800,000 worth of business in one weekend as COVID shut everything down for the rest of the year, what I realized is that a lot of these corporate beautiful, wonderful people, and I'm not speaking ill of them, whose dates I had held because they knew that, in that very beginning, winter's busy for us because we're Florida and it's hella hot in the summer and the spring. But a lot of those really beautiful people who we create events for, whose events were coming down in the pipeline, had given us no money, no funds. There were no contracts to enforce. And not because I'm dumb, but because I've done this for so long. I've done this for so long with these people. I have a beautiful staff, but we cannot write these massive crafting proposals while simultaneously producing some of these large weddings. There's an ebb and flow of how that works. So right now, we're putting our foot down, and whether it's a client whose event maybe doesn't demand that much attention, then we're saying you've got to pay this design deposit and it will roll over into your future expenditures. But in the event that you should cancel or postpone, we have to keep that because we have to eat. We're looking forward to some of those corporate clients who have given us money and who are now asking us to hold it for extremely prolonged amounts of time and redesign with that money, maybe even hold it into the next calendar year. That's not fair, and no. And so corporate partners who we're looking forward to events with, we're saying, you need to be really good and ready when you hand me that check that I'm going to start spending it and paying out, and I'm not giving it back. So let's take a pause. Let's take longer than we ever have together until you give me that money. You need to go talk to a lot of people. You need to tell them that you're giving me that $100,000 today, and you need to tell them that you are not getting it back. And no, Amanda will not give you a ball pit for your children in their yard 2 years from now. That's not how it works. She's going to spend it.
Yeah.
So it is scary. These corporations have legal firepower that, I laugh. Sometimes I laugh when I'm treated badly in a discussion like this, because in that same discussion, that corporate fundraiser has told me how the millions they will raise in that night, how many millions that is, and how many millions that exceeds my gross income for the entire year. And then in that same breath, they will ask me to overextend myself, not pay myself, twist that money around, and jeopardize my business. And they do not mean it unkindly. They just are not simply in the same boat as us. We're in that same storm. I love that saying. We're in the same storm, but not every person is in the same boat.
Yeah.
So I am slowing things way down, and I am tough talking some people who it's scary to tough talk. And even for me, and I am very brave. But yeah, those are some practices that are we're implementing little by little, and it's a lot of work, and I'm trying to listen to a lot of people smarter than me, podcasts and webinars and things like that, and to try to hear what people are saying about it. Because I've got to say, the Sunshine and Roses wedding planners out there are not enjoying that we're saying to clients, like, in the event that you should cancel, we need to be paid for our time. They want us to say, yes, 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 you can have anything you want. You can have any date you want. Please keep having events, but that will sink us really fast.
Yeah. I think that's, it's great. Cece says, kill it, Amanda, rooting for you.
There's got to be a point, like Amanda said, and I think that this is very much needs to be addressed. And I'm sure Eddie could attest to this too. But I mean, I feel like the number one thing that's still talked about right now is deposits, contracts.
Yeah.
Be kind. It's a pandemic. Nobody chose this. Give the money back. You just be that's great. I am not heartless either, and I don't want any backlash from me saying that. I have embraced and worked with my clients without giving them a deposit back. And I think that we're now in the time now to where we need to get back to business as usual. We need to quit being like, oh, these heartbroken people, and let me sacrifice my business for your happiness. Just like she said, for these planners that are just like doing anything. I mean, would you normally do anything for your clients like that? I mean, no, and for free and for no money. So I think we've got to get back the mindset of, there will be a rescheduling fee. There is going to be an increase if you go into 2021. There is, if you change your date more than 3 times, I mean, there's going to be like now a 4th time date fee. Like, we're not assholes for doing that. And we've got to take that mindset off of the table and just be like, it's just business. Because like Amanda said, if you're doing corporate business, these corporations they don't care to dick you around and take you to court. And so, I mean, why? I tell people all the time, if you think like a small business, you will always be a small business. If you think like a Fortune 500 company, you will be a Fortune 500 company one day. And it's the mindset that keeps us where we are a lot of the times. I'm like, oh, well, we're not any less valuable than a Fortune, Amazon or Macy's or anything like that. So why run your business any differently? So we've got to get back to, don't be a dick, okay? But we do have to get back to policies and implementing, staple rules and following our contracts and charging them for multiple changes and the influx it's going to be in 2021 and riders. Like, I have a rider in my contract that I'm getting approved by my attorney right now to make sure it's okay. But riders are key. And my writer basically says, like, shit can happen. Anything can go sideways. So be prepared. You might have to pay more. Like, it literally says that. You don't know what it's going to be like coming out of this. Yeah. So I have to put some kind of verbal documentation in my contract saying, because like I said, I think I said this last time, I can't do a $25,000 floral budget that I promised before COVID-19. I can't do a $25,000 floral budget the exact same now. There's more labor. There's higher prices on flowers. So I can't deliver the same exact thing anymore. So I have to tell my clients that were booked before 2019 that keep moving that just be prepared. If you want that same look, now you have the choice of being like, I paid that. I don't want to pay anymore, but just be prepared. It might be a little less than what I promised. Okay. Because I do a very extensive design process, just like Amanda does. Like, we vet and go through them and calls and all things. And then they come in, by the time they're sitting at my seat, their mind to screw up. Like, they're ready to book. And I've done this whole elaborate design presentation that takes hours to do. That's why we have the clients that we have. And so, they know what they're getting. So I have to explain to them when we reschedule their wedding, it's out of my hands. But if that's where you want to stay, great. It might be a little under. It could be exactly the same if prices don't change. But I need for you to be aware that there could be this implement of a higher price that if you want that same exact look, you might have to pay. Yet again, that comes back to relationship. They have to trust me and know that I am not just trying to screw them. And I've built relationships with them to where they know if I'm asking for money, it's because I need more money, not just because I want to just dollar bills, yo.
Love it. I love it. So real quick, Stacy says, lots of profanity equals best webinar ever I've attended while in quarantine. The honesty is refreshing. So maybe I need to consider swearing, because I do swear a lot. I never ever swear in these, but I do swear a lot in my normal everyday life. My little girl's first swear word was the F word, just so you all just sharing.
That's so cute. That's so cute. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And my oldest, when we were walking around, my oldest, she was like maybe 2, and my husband was like way ahead of us, and she goes, "God damn it, Daddy, why are you so far away?" Yelling it in the middle of a parking garage. My little one. Yeah.
Little pumpkin. Yeah. So it's so interesting about what Amanda and CeCe talked about We have a client, it's a corporate client, and we're doing some design services. And we sent them the contract, um, and we sent them the deposit form. They gave us the deposit. I was like, guys, you have to sign a contract. They're like, no, we've had a history from you before. We've worked with you for so many years. And what do you mean? We trust you. You have to trust us. I was like, no, you need to sign a contract. I'm like, I've been screwed before.
Yeah.
It's not because I don't trust you and you don't trust me. It's just the documents that we have to do. It's just that simple, right?
Yes.
It has nothing to do about trust. It has nothing to do about having to work together in the past. It's the people that you have relationships with in a long period of time that you let go of that business model is the ones you get screwed up the most
Amen.
with,
Yes. Yes.
right?
Learn
So,
from those mistakes.
yeah, absolutely. So, and I said no, and we went back and forth. Their legal team is still looking at the contract because it came back and they're like, I'm like, if I give you 3 design boards, they're like, if we don't like them, we're gonna make you do them all over again. I'm like, fuck you. Why? Why am I'm gonna do 3 design boards, and if you say I don't like them, then why did you hire me in the first place, right? Then you have to do another set of 3. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna spend hours and
Precisely.
hours. Like, I'm sorry. So, I mean, we're all in the same boat because we've been doing this for such a long time, and all of us, as successful as we are, and we give back about our knowledge and our experience, we've also surrounded ourselves with amazing people throughout the years that we've admired, looked up to, wanted to be like them, inspired us. When I looked at Preston Bailey years ago, I was like, oh my God, oh Preston, or Colin. And now all of these people, all of these talented, amazing leaders are my colleagues. They look up to me as much as I look up to them. So that's like what Cece was saying, like we all push each other to elevate us to be at a better place, and we all learn from one another. I'm getting
Yeah.
on the phone with Amanda next week because I didn't want to talk to her about a couple things. And I think we share a lot of things. Even though she's inverted, there's a lot of like, I think she's like an onion. There's like lots of layers that I can even learn from.
I
And
love it.
Cece and I will actually be probably having tequila shots. That's what I see us doing on the phone. But I think between the tequila shots, I think there's a lot of like knowledge and admiration I have for these 2 ladies. And
Yeah.
you, Yvonne, too, of what you do and how you bring the community together, whether, some of us are making more money or less money. And money has nothing to do. If you take money out of the equation, we can live a better world, um, and give back to community in so many ways. It's not giving back to community is not necessarily, going out and getting a grocery for somebody or giving them something. It's really being kind and good human beings.
Amen.
That's what we need.
I
And
love it.
and can I just jump in and just say that the scale of business, if your business is tiny, you can be much more profitable than I am. Make what you need for your life and your family and your people. Please don't take what we're saying and try to compare it in scale. My scale is nothing compared to Eddie's scale, compared to Cece's scale. We all have different scales for where we live and who we do business with and who our people are. And there are people who are highly profitable at a tiny scale. So please just know that everything we're saying applies to your scale, whether it is tiny and whether you're a sole proprietor or your scale is massive. That's very important to me that people feel like this advice is scalable to
Yeah.
everyone.
Yes, exactly. Very good. I love everything that you guys are saying because Cece, you talked about kind of pricing and how you're handling that. I think that's great. So I don't even have to ask that question. So I want to move on real quick to wrap up our show today to talk a little bit about trends. What pre-COVID floral trends do you think will go by the wayside? What new trends do you guys see emerging with weddings and events? Who wants to go first? No one.
Okay.
Silence. What?
Okay.
God.
Well, I mean, like, I think pampas grass and all the dried things and all the prettiness everybody was doing with that stuff, right? I mean, it just seems natural to me that that's going to keep exploding. I don't know. What do you think, Eddie and Cece? Like, I think a lot of that is going to keep exploding. I'm like the least qualified person to talk about this because I just draw inspiration from my clients and who they are and what I think they'll like, and then try to match them with cool things I see everybody else doing, and then make it weird because I like to be weird.
Well, when you think of trends, you also have to think about how it moves through the United States and how it moves through the world. I think I might have said that. I'm starting to get all my webinars confused. I might have said this last week, but people in here think that I am such this like genius, and I'm not. I'm just watching what happened in California and New York last year because I'm in the Bible Belt. So it takes like a full wedding cycle for it to even like hop on the radar of people in Alabama. No offense. And then like 2 years for it to be implemented. So by the time it's implemented, it's so old news from I mean, like we still can't get baby's breath in mason jars to go away. I'm like, for the love, whoever started that punched in the face. And I mean, we're going on 7 years, people. 7 years. It's over. Let it die. We need to have a shallow, unmarked grave for it. It's done. All right. So, but I mean, just think about how long. So, I mean, like I said, pampas grass, I do. I think I've heard people in California say if they see one more piece of pampas grass, they're going to kill somebody. But it's just now making us, like a, in Alabama. So it's not going anywhere this year, I think, at all, especially if you're in my world. But I mean, I think if you watch what's going to be weird, and I know this is like not really answering the question, is seeing what the trends are, because what's so real trends really are based a lot on fashion, art, home decor, like all that. And will there be a fashion week this year? Will there be like all the things that we draw in the floral world as our design inspiration, and it trickles over into the design space that we do? Like, I don't really know what that's going to look like because I don't know what new inspiration we're going to have. Like I said, will there be a fashion week? Will there be, a lot of people might be going to market and like all those places where we see the new exciting trends. It's going to be different this year. So I know that really answered the question, but I think it's just so open to interpretation because we don't know where we're going to be fed that inspiration this year.
Yeah. Yeah. I know, Eddie, you talked a little bit about how you see events happening with it kind of being split up, or maybe I know we had talked about maybe a smaller scale. Do you want to talk a little bit about what you think will happen after we can get together and do events?
I think what's going to happen is for instance, if you were going to do a wedding for 500 people and you really had really extended your budget to really like tight and you weren't able to do certain things that you wanted to do, now that you're able to have like 250, where the scale of the guest count is a little different, even though there might be shifts or changes in pricing on certain products, I think people will pay more attention to details and the experience of an event rather than starting to have massive events. So that I see a lot more intimate parties happening, and I see that with a lot of the first week we were all scared, we were quarantined, we weren't like communicating, we weren't trying to go to the supermarket, we were trying to do everything else. Like, I mean, I need to get out of the fucking house. I need to like get dressed up in the morning. I need to like I need to be in my office space, which is not far from where I live. So, and it's really a studio, right? So there is no, it's not a working retail location. So it's my home, it's my second home. or what I call sometimes most of my home, right? Because
Right.
I'm here all the time creating and so forth. So I need to be in my space. Not that home is not a great place, is because if I'm in my bed and I'm not and in my pajamas, my mindset is, oh, I'm so lazy. I need to eat. I need to sleep. I need to do this. And I'm like the complete opposite. Like all of these ladies, we're active people. Whether however you decide to put out your energy, but for me, it's about I have to get up in the morning. I need to know that I'm like I have obligated things to do so I can remain positive. Otherwise, I go into a complete spiral. And I'm like every time you hear the news or the webinar or on a podcast, and I'm doing it myself, like there's so many different levels of like positive and negative like conversations. Some are very optimistic and some are pessimistic. I'm like, I'm an optimistic, but I'm also a realist of what's going on. So like, let's all
Right.
focus on like, doesn't matter if you're going to have a wedding for 500 people or you're going to have a wedding for 200 people. Figure out how that's going to work for you and what that's going to look like. So whether you're talking to your event designer or you're talking to your florist or you're talking to your planner, whatever that is, right? So whatever was going to be before, we need to, you know, put that away. And then we need to realize this is what we're facing. I had a conversation with the bride and groom the other day, and they're like, "We want a proposal from you." It was a little hard for me to get them on a Zoom call because I really wanted to see their face. I didn't want to
Right.
like communicate over the phone. And in the beginning, the meeting was a little tough, but they're like, "Well, what is your process?" And I'm like, "My process is you have to pay me a retainer. I have to design it for you. Then I have to send you the proposal after retainer is signed for." And, uh, sometimes we want to bend backwards and we want to do things that are not just to get the client. No, I was like, listen, I don't know what prices are going to be in December for your wedding. I don't
Right.
know that. I can tell you that we could facilitate and execute the vision based on what you've given me if the palette is in greens and white. What I can't promise you is the variety of flowers you're going to have, the abundance that you're going to have, until I know for a fact of what's going on when it's normal. I can't predict. I'm not you know, I don't have a crystal ball in front of me. None of us do, right? We don't know what's going on. We don't know how many times you're able to ship flowers from Holland, right? If its shipment was coming out 4 times a week and now it's maybe coming twice a week. That
Right.
changes dynamics. It changes pricing. It changes everything. Our labor, are we able to get the people that we wanted? Have they moved on? Maybe they were from a different country that they were coming in to intern for 3 months. There's so many factors, right? As a business owner, I'm dealing with that. And so are, Amanda, like she was saying. So at one point, I'm like, what you're getting me for is not only to do the date, is to actually start the process of me creating for you. I can't do it otherwise,
Right.
And so at the end of the conversation, they were like, oh my God, we love you. You took the time to explain how you work. I said, because at the end of the day, if I give you a proposal, what you're going to do is you're going to look at 2 other proposals. No one's explaining to you what you're getting. You're
Yeah.
just comparing apples to oranges, and what you're looking at the end of the day, you're not even reading the damn thing. We know that.
Yeah.
You're
No
looking
one
at the
reads.
bottom line. You're looking at the
No
bottom
one reads
line.
anything.
Where did Eddie come in? Oh, so and so came in that much. Eddie came in $2,000 more. But there's a reason why Eddie
Right?
came $2,000 more, right? So it's not because I wanted. I mean, it's not like I have a magic wand. It's that magic wand that touched it. It's the product or what the idea of to create that is going to cost more.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
That's
I know.
a whole nother live is how we all do our design presentations because that's
Yeah.
I do mine the same way. And I spend a lot of time talking to them and showing visuals. And when you say, I'm going to charge you $35,000 and you have nothing to show for it, as opposed to, I'm going to charge you $35,000, but look at what I'm going to do. They're like, oh, holy crap, I'll sell a kidney. Like, it is a totally different kind of concept to the way you and it requires, when they're spending that much money or $100,000, I mean, it requires that kind of thing, that kind of investment. And that also goes back to what Amanda said earlier too. This is such a key thing for people to keep in mind. My average amount of weddings that I want to do a year is 17 weddings. People are like, oh my God, like I do 110 or I do 35. But when you do weddings on the scale that we do weddings on, and y'all might have a bigger team, I am still like a girl that touches everything. You can't spend that much time doing design proposals and quotes and sourcing all the stuff and still like in 2 days run, you know, a $50,000, $80,000 floral budget wedding and then go do another $50,000. Like you just can't do that. Like they're bigger and they take more time. So
Right.
you have to have that creative centeredness to move forward on someone's design proposal. You have to have that creative centeredness to move forward on their floral design. There has to be spaces in between in order for you to be a designer. Those things don't churn. No matter how many events you do, everyone has their amount of time they need to come back to center.
Yep.
So, and no matter how big a team you run, or if it's just yourself, everyone has that rebound time.
Right.
Yeah, that's a very good
Not
point.
only it's yeah, that's true. It's not only rebound time. It's it's to actually have space to be able to dream for them, right?
Totally.
And sometimes when you're on the go, like if you're doing 100 events a year, how is that possible? You know, because there's so many moving elements. Even if you're just doing one part of it, there's so many moving elements that you're communicating with so many people on a daily basis that people don't realize. I don't think people realize what we really do, right? Whether you actually are producing it, whether you're designing it and producing it, people go, well, what did you do? Like a client goes, I'm just going to pay you an hour for your time. I'm like, you had a 3-hour design meeting in my studio. I had a 2-hour meeting at the hotel that took me another hour to get there and an hour to come back. So that my whole day was gone. I've been communicating with the rental company. I've been dealing with the lighting company. I'm dealing with the so all of that, and they're like, "Well, we want to give you $1,000 back, and we want it." So I'm going to court for it, you know. So I'm like, no,
It's like
I love you.
Picasso story. It's like it's not just that time. It's who we became to be able to give that of ourselves. Like,
yeah.
It didn't come out of
Sometimes
nowhere.
people ask me, like, how long has it been that you've been, like, to get where you're at? I'm like, 48 years. And they're like, you've been in the business for 48 years? I'm like, no, it took me 48 years from the day that I was born to be who I am, to have become the person that I am. It's taken me 48 years.
That's a very good point.
That's 48 years of experience, of knowledge that you are paying for, right? And that's a difference with me and someone coming into the business that has been around for 2 years. There's so much knowledge. There's so much things that I will give you that I can't write on paper.
Right.
That I can't describe on paper.
So what are y'all's thoughts on, I do want to see this. I think this is one of your questions. I would love to know y'all's thoughts on elopements, because I've heard a lot of people talking about that's like having elopement packages or simplified weddings. And for all three of us that are big brands, you know, and we come with, whether you want to use the word or not, you know, usually luxury or whatever, somebody who's trying to build into like a high-end market. Like, what are y'all's thoughts on kind of creating that? Because a lot of people have been speculating that that's where that's going, is a lot, you know, because it is going to be a phase opening, you know, like advertising, you know, that we do some elopement packages or some, which I hate packages. But I mean, what are y'all thoughts on that?
So here's how I was talking to a friend the other day about this, and he comes from the food business, and I was talking, I said, you know, what is it, you know, when you look at like any fashion brand or any luxury brand, like let's take Armani, you know, there's an Armani Privé, the couture line, and then there's Armani Exchange. So as a business owner, you should always have that big brand, and then you should have like and that under that umbrella, you should have different categories of, even if you're a luxury brand, you should have something that people are able to touch, whether it's a candle, whether it's whether it's, your courses, or whether it's, as not only as a leader and an educator, an artist, a visionary, I have my own book, and I teach on YouTube and all that kind of stuff. I think that when you become this big brand, you need to make sure that everybody gets a piece of you that can afford you, right? My clients can afford me to doing events for them, because then I can dream bigger for them. So that's okay. And then you have a client that really wants a piece of Eddie but can't get Eddie, but they've got Eddie in a piece of candle where it's, oh my God, it's Eddie's favorite scent. So if Eddie uses it in his office, that means I'm going to feel like how Eddie feels. So you understand the psychology of what I'm trying to say is, I know that we're like, oh, well, I do big weddings. Well, great. You keep on doing those big weddings. But if we don't have those big weddings, like you already know this, Cece, is you're doing the backyard part, the front yard parties. We'll do front yard parties, backyard parties, whatever that takes. We're business people. So wherever that money is going to be coming from, and whether it's doing like, hey, it's a boutonniere and a bouquet, and then maybe one small centerpiece as your elopement, package. Maybe we start thinking of things like that, and maybe you sell 100 of those in a day, where you weren't, where your profitability can be a lot more than when you were doing, a $300,000 wedding. You never know.
I think that's a great point. And it actually just reminded me of one of my previous guests, the flower guy, Braun. He has his, his luxury. He hates that word, I think, right? He's one of the people that does not like the word luxury, but he has his luxury brand. But then he has a whole nother website where, it's people who want to work with him, but that don't have that type of budget. So he has like all these packages to help those type of people. And it's just super simple. It's on a website. Here's how you order. Like super bam, 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 so that way it kind of can cover all the different like aspects of weddings and events.
I do want people to be really careful though, that if you all are good business people, you should have profitability worksheets on every event that you're doing. And so I really, before you make a move, I want you to look in the past and look at your last year's profitability of each event. Or if you don't have them, email me. My team will show you what ours look like. If you can go back retroactively and make profitability worksheets. And we call them micro events. We do smaller events. We do smaller events for like repetitive clients that have been loyal to us, because in the scale of our profitability, they net us much fewer dollars that are usable to our entire engine. Right. I want to make really sure, our thing is kind of slower moves, because I don't want to hurry and do some things that are a lot less profitable or almost not profitable at all, and then have something kind of open up in terms of us being able to gather, and then have these things bump into my overall profitability. So that's me. I'm not Eddie. I'm not famous. I don't work in that realm. No one will buy my Gwyneth Paltrow vagina candle. That's not who I am. But as I look to doing smaller things, as any of you look to doing smaller things, please explore your profitability of items. Always. And do it right for you and your company.
Always.
I know what both of y'all said. I feel the same way as both of y'all, even though y'all kind of said different things. But I do think what Amanda said is the key, because I am not set up as a flower shop, and an event florist. Be mindful, if you are going to promote yourself as an elopement package, what if you just have one? So you're going to have to, instead of ordering, direct from Mayesh, or if you have another supplier someplace, you might just have to go down to your local wholesale house. You're going to pay higher pricing. Is it going to be as profitable as, say, doing an elopement session when I already have flowers in for something else and I'm making profit because I had good profit margins on that. So if you just, so that was amazing, what both of y'all said, but also because I do agree with both. Everybody should have a little piece of you, but it's got to be profitable. And I see a lot of people say, I'm going to do elopements. But if you only have one a week and it's one bouquet and one corsage, and you have to go down to your local wholesale house and spend $125, to get it, and you charge them $150, was it worth it?
Right. You always have to make sure you're profitable.
Yeah, obviously, I totally agree with both of you as well. I think we're all in sync with each other. We're just kind of taking here's a left side view of it, here's a right side view of it, and here's a right left side view of it, which we're all obviously, I wouldn't say, like, if someone says, oh, like, you're not doing, like, if you've never done balloons and you don't even know how to do balloons, and now you're suddenly having to like spend $500 on balloons, and you've just charged the client $200 to do a bouquet. Like, that's not going to work. So I agree. It needs to work. Like, I'm very fortunate. I'm lucky because I have an inventory of lots of items. I can repurpose them, rearrange them, give them a different idea, and able to sell even product at this point, right? Like, I can sell vases instead of just sitting around and doing nothing. I can be shipping these vases that have in inventory and say, hey, look, you can do an arrangement like this, and then you can have this vase. People are buying things now.
Yeah.
A lot of things.
A lot.
So they're bored. So, like, figure out whatever that is for you. Like Amanda said,
Right.
like, there's got to be that profitability. Like, I've already invested in those vases.
Right.
So to have it sitting it on the shelf, then rather than turning it over, that's where your money's going to be coming from. There's probably money sitting out wherever you are, CeCe, whether it's around, your local, Armstrong or, Home Depot, and you're going in and getting plants or whatever. Things around you that you have access to or that is yours, you can easily turn it over to money and profitability.
I love that. Gary V talks about that a lot. Sell what you have if you need money. Okay, so there's a question from RSVP Floral Design, if we can make like a little bit of time to answer that. And she said, should we hold off on design details and pricing for, say, a fall 21 client until maybe after the new year? When do we give them pricing? What do you guys say about that?
I agree. We don't know anything, right? Like, what you're doing is they can book you. They could give you a retainer. They can give you the retainer for two reasons. They can give you the retainer to start the design process, and then they can start the retainer to book the date, right? And you have to be clear on your language, because a deposit and a retainer are two different things, okay? So you have to be very careful in your language, and you can talk to your attorney about that, because obviously I'm not an attorney, and this is why I'm in the design world.
Cece's dad is an attorney, though.
Is Cece's dad an attorney?
Yeah, you missed that part from our last show at the very end.
Oh, I'm sorry. So Cece, I'm calling you, darling. So it's, it's just a matter of just looking at, what, like, we don't even know. It's not even flowers, guys. We don't even know.
Right.
Everything might be going expensive. Like, the prices might be. So how do you quote them? Or you can say, look, listen, I can quote you, but there might be a discrepancy, and we need to address that in the future. So you need to be as transparent with them at all. You can't be saying, oh yeah, the flowers are going to be the same price, and we're going to do it for you, blah, 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 to get the job, because what you're doing is you're overselling, and then you're going to undeliver it. And that's a lot of shit that you don't want to do.
Right.
Yeah, I love Cece's idea about the rider, about, that the pricing can go up, and I'm not going to know until it's like closer to the date, and we're just going to have to deal with it. And
I think we should go back to the mentality of, literally, we call them quotes. Like any other industry, when you get a quote from somebody, it's kind of turned into like this permanent thing. But a quote technically is a guesstimation. Like,
right,
I'm quoting you that I think it's going to be this, but I mean, when you go get your car fixed, they quote you what they think it's going to cost. And
Right.
it's inevitable you're going to get there and they're going to be like, well, I had to buy one of these and 7 of those. So it's $400 more. And you're like, damn it. But
And any big project is like that. Like when I got my roof done, for example, they're like, this is the quote. We're pretty sure it's going to be around this, but these are the things that can go wrong. And this is how much everything might cost. And we're going to bill you afterwards. Like
Right.
you might need more wood. We put in this much wood, but you might need extra wood. So I think it applies and people are used to that way of business. It's just, that's not how the floral world worked before, but now we're learning and now it needs to kind of work like that going forward.
But everybody needs to do that.
Yes, everybody.
Everybody has to do that across,
Yeah.
because that's how we're going to be able to survive, instead of saying, oh, what did Eddie quote you? Oh, I can do for $1,000 less, but you don't even know what Eddie's doing. And
Yeah.
what is Eddie giving, right?
And people just don't know what other people's businesses look like under the hood. That florist down the street who is doing that and then delivering exactly what they said, maybe just eating all those costs, and in 6 months may not exist, or may be bankrupt and you didn't know, or may have, I mean, and I know we all hate doing this. I know this is not our style of proposal writing. I know that when we give our clients, after we design for them, once we give them what they're going to get, we call it actionable. It's actionable at that price. So I know this is a change for a lot of us. But we just have to tell our clients that we're sorry that we have to do it this way, but that we're going to do it this way.
Yeah.
And then ask them to understand that statement.
It's the new norm. And a whole other half of that, guys, is something that I just experienced just the other day. I very rarely worry about price comparing because I teach, vetting, and that they come to me and that people that are booking me aren't booking me based on price. They're booking me on, but one of the things that I noticed the other day is I did just lose a client that I kind of wasn't prepared that they were going to base it on finances, because I'm so used to that not really being part of my world. But what I realized when they decided not to book me was, as weird as this sounds, you got to educate your competitors too, because what they did is I lost this bride because the person that she went and talked to, no offense, is not educated enough, and nor have they thought about what weddings are going to look like. I mean, all of us on here, everybody listening, we're investing, like we're interested, like we want to know. But I guarantee you there's a whole other 50% of your industry that's like business as usual. And that's where the disconnect's going to come. Yes, I'm having to explain to brides what I would give you for $20,000 a year ago is now probably going to be like 25 or 30. My competitor is still doing 20 the same way last year. They haven't even thought about that yet because they're not as business savvy. So now you're competing against somebody who didn't think it through properly. Am I making sense?
Wedding planners shouldn't be doing business with people who are telling them that there's going to be no change.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Spread the word, guys.
Yeah, tell everybody. Tell your competitors that they're priced.
Run away.
Yeah, or have them watch this show. Easy peasy.
Well, what have you seen, Yvonne? I know this might be your one of your questions, but I mean, y'all have opened back up. Y'all are starting to ship flowers. Are you finding are the farms charging more? Is it hard to get certain things? Have farms closed? Like, what are you seeing?
I'm not a product expert, but what I am seeing, like when I just know what my husband tells me when we're like chatting business, before we go to bed, because we do that a lot. That's when he like updates me on things. But when we put out our Mother's Day pricing, pretty much the pricing was pretty much the same as the year before, so we're not seeing like these crazy increases. We still don't know like we haven't seen a whole bunch of farms close, but we don't know how many are going to make it through. I know everyone's just trying to do their best, and there's still a little bit of, just turning on the faucet type of deal. So that way there's something going out. So we'll see. I haven't heard any big news about too many people closing and things going up, which is a good thing. But we'll see what happens once the dust settles and everyone is able to kind of really reevaluate what is going on. Because I feel like right now it's getting loud, and I got my little one in here.
Seen a big difference out in California?
I'm sorry?
I'm asking Eddie if he saw a big difference out in California, because I know he's out there where a lot of that.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, not getting product, scarcity of product, then forces you to design differently. Where if we were so designing with like luscious flowers in the beginning, clients were still like ordering, and we didn't know whether we wanted to fulfill the orders and how we were going to handle that, and who was doing this and who was doing that. And I was like, no, we're just doing it. Like, we're closing up retail. Our online business is going. We might just have to explain to clients that the variety of things that we have are not always available to us all the time. So we were able to like get flowers in almost the same day because of the market. Now that the market is shut, I can't go buy something for a client for following day. Now I have to say, hey guys, so we're getting maybe flowers not every single day now. We're getting it 3 times a week, and we're limited to the supply of what we get, but our aesthetic is the same, and we're trying to give you the best value of the money that we can at the moment. So you have to explain to clients to like, it's not the same way it's going to be. We're not going to maybe have the abundance of all the things that we have. Maybe the growers are going to, cut back a little bit, and there's so many variables that are happening. So
yeah, I just wanted to add to that because I feel like that's a big difference of how we're operating when we're just taking in orders and things like that. It's more about the colors. It's not specific varieties. We're not doing a whole lot of custom anything. Our Mayesh pulls have been doing really, really well because we're like, this is the color palette. Do you want this? This is the price. So that way everyone kind of, it helps them, I feel like, a little bit too. And like with the LA market, for example, it isn't the same. They're open, but everything's pickup. So you're not getting to go around and look at things and pick out your own things. You're not seeing it. So, and then they have to like go up to the second level and, do the no contact pickup. And it's just a very different beast. So,
and Yvonne, I feel like your pulls have been almost like too generously priced. Like those pulls are extravagantly beautiful and include shipping. I almost think like it's like I almost don't dare say that because what's one thing that I feel like is happening now is that the flowers that have already been born and already cut and already dry packed, people are trying to sell those now to cheaper, trying to push it out. So I feel like today's prices in market aren't necessarily indicative of like October.
Yeah.
No, not at all. So that's why I love what Cece was talking about. And I love you guys, but it is 12:30. So do you guys have any, I know, like quick comments that you want to end it on? I know we could like talk all day, but I know what all of our emails are probably blowing up. I know I've seen things coming through like,
my text messages are blowing up, and they're like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
I know.
Attention. I'm like, really? People, I called you before this day, I'm going to take at least an hour. And yet, of course, that's what happens.
I know we're over time, but I love it because you guys have shared so much, and it's very entertaining. It's been a really great show. But I just posted your guys' Instagrams in the comments. Is there anything else that you guys wanted to share or close the show with?
Did you launch your course, Eddie?
Huh?
Did you launch your course?
Well, the course is already launched. We just didn't push it, right? Because of the COVID-19 happening at the same time we were doing a pre-launch. So it's launched, it's on the website. And what we've done is instead of doing a one-time, we went back to the team and talked about it. And I thought instead of doing like a one lump of payment, we've now divided into 3 different easy installments. So it's easier for you to go back and invest in yourself if you need that. So yeah, I think
you need a bundle.
Yeah.
Well, it is a bundle. You know, it's got the whole design, marketing, and how to start the business. So it's a good insight of like how I run my business, and being very transparent about it. So I think this is it's like we've talked about this. All of us have talked about it. I wish that when we all started, whether we were doing it for 5 years or 10 years or 20 years or 30 years, whatever it is, if there was any information that we could have bought that would have saved us some money or because everything you can't Google everything and
Yep.
expect everything in Google to be right. You need the person to be in experience to give you those insider information or those tricks that you wouldn't even think about at all, but that is from years of experience, right? So
Right. Very good. CeCe.
CeCe School is open, so I would love for people to come join. I've left the cart open. I said I was going to do it all through the COVID lockdown. We only usually open the cart once or twice a year. So come on over and check out CeCe School, which is my membership group to where we do guest speakers, business teachings, and design teachings once a month, and then drop recipes. So it's kind of like an ongoing thing every single month. And what
I want to be a guest.
Come be a guest. That's what I'm saying. We need to do an Edison. We need to do like a combined Eddie and CeCe or Eddie
Oh,
Seed.
yeah.
Seed.
A seed. Seed combo. There you go.
So
We're doing
cute.
it.
You guys are
Margaritas
so cute.
and intertwining. So there you go.
Very cute.
You guys can do a drunk history. Yeah.
So cute.
Yeah.
Any other parting words? Amanda, do you have anything that you want to part with?
I'll just be over here on my phone, according to all my employees, doing nothing.
Doing nothing.
Send me some hand sanitizer.
I know, we will.
Dark hand sanitizer. Is it branded sanitizer? Do you guys like have a cool look for it?
Oh, I mean, my husband owns a beautiful distillery, so
Yeah.
it's their logo and all their cool Cerberus stuff, and we'll just be over here doing that, and I'll be running around after my 3-year-old and cooking too much food. But almost, hey, Stacey Mandikas, hi girl, thank you for coming on and watching us today. I'll do a little shout out to some people I see, and Lucy, I saw you, girl. But
I love it.
Yvonne, we love you because honestly, like at this time, having talks like this are the only thing that's making me feel sane, is to say the truth out loud about what's happening as we see it, and to stop pretending like nothing's happening to our industry and the folks in our industry. And if we're not telling the truth about what people are going through, no one else is, and clients will be blind. And then they will get mad, and then I don't like mad clients.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. And yeah, that's what we're here for. I love it. You guys, that's a wrap on today's show.
Thank you.
Great way to end this month. Thank you, Amanda, Eddie, and CeCe for joining me. I love you guys. This has been so much fun. And yes, I love all the swearing. So apparently I need to ask my guests, can you please swear? So that way it's fun. And I'm going to have to put the profanity thing now on YouTube. So we'll see I don't know what's going to happen now. It's like
And
a
I'm
whole new world.
And I'm messaging both of y'all on Instagram. I got individual questions to ask y'all. So don't act like you don't know me.
Use my Amanda Allan Designs. Because my girls do the MMD event. So Amanda Allan Designs is like me and my weird child and my tiny dogs. And like
I'm just gonna go to your famous one where you look real important.
Good. Well, I'm so glad that you guys love each other, that you guys are going to connect after this too. And thank you everyone for watching and spending an hour and a half with us. You guys are amazing.
Yeah.
My next scheduled show is for next Tuesday, May 5th. May the 5th be with you for all of you nerds out there, right? All of our fellow nerds. I'm going to be on at 11 a.m. Eastern with Allison Ellis of Real Flower Business, and we are going to be talking about websites, y'all. So important to have a website. Do not just lean on Instagram. All you people that do that drive me bananas, and you don't own Instagram. You can get hacked and lose it all. You need a friggin' website. So let's talk about websites. We're going to talk about good things, bad things, everything in between, how to get started if you don't have one. And so in the meantime, please feel free to send me your questions, shoot me an email, DM me, use our contact form on our website. And that's it, guys. We're going to get through this together. I know these times are tough, but I feel like so hopeful, especially this week. There's just been a lot of good things happening. Amazing people like you guys out there just sharing constantly, uplifting everyone. And we're just going to get back to doing our thing very soon, I feel like. So Mother's Day is coming up. Lots of flowers going out for that. Lots of good things and lots of good things to be just very happy about, feeling blessed. So I love you guys. I wish nothing but the best for you. I hope you stay safe and healthy, and I will see you all soon. Take care. Bye, everyone.
Love you. Bye.
Love you, Yvonne.